Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for your valuable time and assistance this morning. We are very, very fortunate to have you on the call. Hare Krishna, welcome to Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call. Today's topic is appearance of Srila Advaita Acharya. We are very fortunate to have His Grace Koladvipa Prabhu for enlightening us on topic today. Thank you, Prabhuji, for joining and giving your valuable time and assistance this morning. Please take over the call, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, I want to offer my respectful, humble obeisances to all the devotees who are present in the call, from wherever place you are joining. And thanks to all the devotees who gave me an opportunity to serve in this special congregation. I see a lot of activities in Facebook under this group, Bhakti Sangha Japa Conference. So I'm really enthralled and very much happy to join all of you today on this special occasion. So we can start with some bhajan. I think if you, I think I can share my screen, right, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu, you can share your screen, or if you want, we can also share whatever is convenient with you.
Yeah, maybe I can share. Yes. You can see my screen, I hope. Which one is it? Do you see the song screen, Mataji? Take a song. Yeah, okay, great. So this is a song written by Srila Lochan Das Thakur. And he is glorifying actually Advaita Acharya on this in this song. So it says like Jai Jai Advaita Acharya Dayamoy, Jar Hunkare Gauro Avataro Hoy. So all glories to the Advaita Acharya, who is most merciful and whose invocation or hunkar means like very loud invocation of someone. Lord Gaurchandra descended upon that. Premodada Shitanath Koruna Shagor Jar Premorashe Aila Gaurango Sundar. He is, Shitanath is like, husband of Sita Devi Thakurani. He is giver of pure devotional love, and he is ocean of mercy. And Lord Gaurachandra descended because of his mellows of love, because of his love towards him. Jaharo koruna kori kripa dhite chai, prema veshe shejano chaitanya guna gai. Whenever he mercifully glances upon someone, he inundates himself, or he submerges himself in the glories of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or he starts singing the glories of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at that time. Taharo charone jeva loilo sharon, shejano pailo gauro prevo mahadhan. Whoever has taken shelter unto his lotus feet, he has got the treasure of Lord Chaitanya's premadhan, like the treasure of Lord Chaitanya's pure devotional service. এমনও দয়ার নিধি কেনে না ভজিলু লোচন বলে নিজ মাথে বজ্র পড়িল. I don't know why I have not worshipped this kind of merciful personality, and that's why Lochan Das is exclaiming why thunderbolt hasn't stuck upon his head yet. So yeah, Lochan Das Thakur is actually singing on behalf of us. So we can sing also. I will not use any instrument because previously I experienced when I use something, it actually subdues my voice. So I'll just use my voice to sing. Joyo Joyo Advaita Acharya Dayamoy, Jaro Hunkare Gauro Avataro Hoy. Jaya Jaya Advaita Acharya Dayamoy, Jaro Hunkare Gauro Avataro Hoy. Premodata Shitanatho Koruna Shagor, যার প্রেম রসে আইলা গৌরাঙ্গ নাগর প্রেমদাতা সীতানাথ করুণা সাগর যার প্রেম রসে আইলা গৌরাঙ্গ নাগর যাহারে করুণা করে কৃপা দিছে চায় প্রেমাবশে সে জান চৈতন্য গুণ গায় যাহারে করুণা করে কৃপা দিছে চায় প্রেমাবশে সে জান চৈতন্য গুণ গায় তাহার চরণে দেবা লইল শরণ সে জন পাইলা গৌর প্রেম মহাধন তাহার চরণে দেবা লইলা শরণ সে জন পাইল গৌর প্রেম মহাধন এমন দয়ার নিধি কেনা না ভজিল লোচন বলে নিজ মাথে বজড় পড়িল এমন দয়ার নিধি কেনে না ভজিল লোচন বলে নিজ মাথে বজড় পড়িল হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে 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 কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে 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 কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে 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 কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 hare hare. Thank you for being with me. So we'll start with the Mangalashan prayer.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I'm so sorry to interrupt you before you start your Mangalacharan prayers.
Yeah.
Prabhu, your voice, like for
was
when
not
you
good,
were
eh?
singing, it was good, but then when you started Hare Krishna, it went low, but then again it went, so it's fluctuating.
It's fluctuating. Let me actually use my headphone now. I hope that it will fix the issue. No, it's not yet, I think, fixed, right?
No, Prabhu, it's very low.
Yeah. Now it is better, Mataji. Can you confirm?
Yeah, now it's better.
You can hear
Yeah,
clearly.
now we can hear you.
Okay, great. Thanks for noting it down. Yeah. Okay, so I'll just start with the Mangalashan prayer. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya
चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति सापदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितं च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगे राधे वृंदावनेश्वरे वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरे प्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपात्तमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारणं परमानन्दं माधवं श्रीचैतन्यमेश्वरम्। ध्येयं सदा परिभावग्नविष्टदोहं तीर्थस्पदं शिवविरञ्चिनुतं शरण्यं वित्तर्त्योऽहं प्रणतपालभवद्दिपोतं वन्दे महापुरुषते चरणारविन्दम्। त्यक्ता सुदश्च राज्यलक्ष्मीन् धर्मिष्ठयार्यवचस यद् आगत् अरण्यम् मायामृगं दयितमिष्पितमन्नधावात् वन्दे महापुरुषते चरणारविन्दम्। वन्दे महापुरुषते चरणारविन्दम्। वन्दे त्वं श्री अद्वैतमाचार्यमद्भुतचेष्टितं यस्य प्रसादादग्रहोऽपि तत्स्वरूपं निरूपयेत्। Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone again. So the last verse I chanted for the Mangalacharya prayer, it says, Manditang Srimad Advaitam Acharya Adbhuta Cheshtitam Yasya Prasadat Agrahopi Tat Sarupam Nirupayat. So I am also doing the same thing. In this verse, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in the 6th chapter of Adi Lila, he is asking or he is expressing the mood of a devotee who is glorifying Advaita Acharya. He is telling, I am worshipping that Advaita Acharya whose activities are wonderful. It cannot be actually a very conditioned soul cannot explain the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Actually, that is not in their jurisdiction. But they can follow the footsteps of previous acharyas, how they have explained those pastimes, and just can recite as a parrot. But it's not actually easy, or it's not possible for a conditioned soul to realize or understand those deep meaning of those pastimes. So he's telling that his activities are wonderful, and by his own mercy, even though I am ignorant, even though I don't have any knowledge, but I can try, or I can actually give it a try to describe some of those contents. So I'm also asking for blessings and permission from all the wonderful assembled Vaishnavas, also our Guru Vargas and all the previous Acharyas to bless me so that I can speak something in line of the teachings of the Acharyas can be fruitful. And we can glorify Advaita Acharya on this special day, which is his appearance day. So yeah, let's start with the Advaita Acharya's appearance part of it. So if you see that, actually our Gaudiya Vaishnavas, after like we have like throughout the year we have different festivals. But if you see that, there is a like the major festivals after that Kartik festivals or Kartik culmination of Kartik month, there is a big gap. And the festival season starts with the appearance of Advaita Acharya. True to say, like in between there are different festivals we observe, like Pushya Vishek, then different Rasa Purnima, excuse me, Sharat Rasa Purnima. But actually, the main festivals onwards, the Madhava Tithis will come one by one. So the first one starts with Advaita Acharya, and then we are observing Nityananda Triyodasi next week, and then comes Lord Chaitanya in Falguna Shukla Purnima. So if you see that in that same order, they appeared. First, we need the mercy of Advaita Acharya, দয়া করো সীতাপতি অদ্বৈত গোসাই তব কৃপা বলে পাই চৈতন্য নিতাই. So by the mercy of Advaita Acharya we can get Nityananda and Chaitanya. So Advaita Acharya actually appeared. Actually, before going that, maybe let's discuss some of the philosophical part of it there, because that's how Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami introduced Advaita Acharya. So in the invocation verses of Chaitanya Charitamrita, he dedicated two verses. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami dedicated two verses for Advaita Acharya's glorification. So the first verse is the Adi Lila 1:12. It says, Mahavishnur Jagat Karta Mayaya Srijattada Tasyavatara Yevayam Advaitam Acharjam Ishvara. He is telling Advaita Acharya Thakur is the avatar or an incarnation of Mahavishnu, whose main function is to create this material world with union with Maya Devi, or when they union together, they create these material ingredients. And in that way, so you can say that he is also Vishnu Tattva. Now, sometimes we get confused. In fact, I used to also get confused that Lord Chaitanya is Vishnu Tattva. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna himself. Lord Nityananda is also Vishnu Tattva. We see that Shankarshan Karnatoshay Garbhadashay Pavdashay Shesha Kalatam Nityananda Ramam Sharanam Mamastu. It says like all five major expansion, the Shankarshan, then Purusha avatars, and even the Shesha, they are like expansion of his expansion. So all these are excuse me, Vishnu Tattva category. And then we also see that Mahavishnu Jagat Karta Maya Srijattada Tasyavatara Eva Advaita Acharya Vishara. Then how to actually reconcile all these tattvas who appeared in Gaura Lila in different features of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami gave a very nice discussion. In fact, if you read Adi Lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's full of actually Sambandha Gyan. Different tattvas are introduced and very elaborately explained, very elaborately and very systematic manner. I start with the the Guru Tattva, and then Lord Chaitanya's Tattva and his Parikar Tattva, means his intimate associates, who they are and how they are actually helping or associating in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. So he's telling that Mahavishnu, when he creates the world, there are two features of it. One is the Nimitta feature, or the effective cause, and another is the Upadan feature, is the ingredient cause or material cause. So in the Nimitta feature or the effective cause, Mahavishnu or Karnodaksha Vishnu, he glances upon the material world, or he energizes it. Through his will, it gets energized, or that the element, that Mahatattva, it get energized. Actually, it gets energized and then it transforms to Pradhan, and from different elements, other material elements, right? So he is the effective cause. By his glancing, these things happen. He works as the director, you can say, or he permits it to work like that. But he doesn't come into touch with it indirect. He just indirectly works, or you can say he works from the behind the screen. But Advaita Acharya, he is an incarnation of Vishnu Tattva. He works as the Upadan Karan, or that the material cause of it. And with Maya Devi, if you read Brahma Samhita, where it is explained in detail that how Shambhu and Ramadevi, sorry, not Ramadevi, Shambhu and Maya Devi, they actually create this material universe, all the material ingredients, like there's 5 gross elements, 3 subtle elements, and 5 working senses, 5 working 5 tests, means like 5 different types of experiences, tanmatra, sparsha, gandha, shabda, rupa, rash. So these things are created by the interaction of Maya Devi and actually the Vishnu Tattva, which is an incarnation of the original Vishnu Tattva. And he's also called Shadasiva or Shiva Tattva actually. So yeah, it's a little confusing that how Shiva Tattva is also Vishnu Tattva. So that's how it is explained by our acharyas, that when Lord Vishnu comes into material or he interacts with the material nature, he actually takes form of Sadasiva, and he works with Maya Devi to create all these material ingredients. Now I'll give two example how this works, or you can map how these things are working uh, uh, together. So first, if you see that the source of all incarnation is Lord Krishna, Ete Changsha Kalapamsha, and then from Krishna comes Mula Shankarshan. From Mula Shankarshan comes Mahashankarshan. From him actually comes all three Purusha avatars: Karanadakshay Vishnu, Garbhodakshay Vishnu, and Shirodakshay Vishnu. From Karanadakshay Vishnu, when he glances upon the material world, I mentioned it, he expands himself as he expands himself into this Mahavishnu or Shadasiva, who takes charge to create the material ingredients. And Advaita Acharya is that personality who actually creates this material world on behalf of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Uh, so the example can be given like, if somebody says that if you feed a cow grass, then automatically milk will be produced, because it is supplied with all the ingredients, and it eats that ingredients or digest it, and it delivers milk. That's a normal process. But then you can counter argue that if I actually feed a bull grasses, or the bull also takes enough grasses, then why don't they produce milk? So this is the relationship. So you have the ingredients, but there should be some sanction. There should be some indirect indirect sanction from the super authority, which is the Karanadakshay Vishnu, to take or make those uh, ingredients effective. So this is called the uh, what is that? I forgot the term. That nimitta karan. Anyways, the effective cause, and then upadan karan is the this cow, the grass, those things. Another example that Sankhya philosophers give, which is also very interesting, they say that if we have all the ingredients to create a building, like you have bricks, you have cements, you have all different types of uh, like sands, water, everything you need for creating a building, but will that building will be created automatically? No, there should be someone who should sanction, who should have that uh, that application of those elements, that okay, I want to create a building, this should be like this, these many rooms, these many square feet. So this is how Mahavishnu, he works as that effective cause to direct all the ingredients, material ingredients to manifest into the material world. So, and Advaita Acharya takes care of the second part of it, means like maintaining or creating the material ingredients. I hope this part is clear. Now, Advaita Saptami. This is the seventh day of the Shukla month of Magha. Shukla means waxing moon of month of Magha. Seventh day of waxing moon of month of Magha. And he appeared on this very day in the year of 1434. He was actually 52 years older than Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the village of Navagram in Srihatta, currently known as Sylhet in East Bengal. That time it was in East Bengal, currently is in Bangladesh. So he appeared in the same, almost in the same place where Tapan Mishra, Jagannath Mishra, the Sivash Pandit, all these stalwart devotees appeared, Srihatta. And Lord Chaitanya's original place, Jagannath Mishra's original place, is actually Srihatta. So his father's name was Kubera Pandit and mother's name is Navadevi. Kubera Pandit was a very pious Brahmin. He used to work as a priest in the uh, court of Maharaj, King Dibya Singha, king of that place. King or Jamindar, you can say, because he was not like a big king, but he was a kind of very big landlord, you can say. So they actually prayed to Lord Shiva, because Lord Shiva is easily pleased and he is a Param Vaishnava. So when a Vaishnava prays to him for some kind of spiritual attainment, he actually fulfills their desire. That's why many devotees, they first on Shivaratri and ask for a special spiritual boon from him. And when they actually prayed very fervently, he was very pleased. And he appeared in their dream and asked that what kind of boon you want. And they want like they expressed that we want a Vaishnava son like you, like yourselves. Then he told like, okay, I will appear as your son in future. And then Advaita Acharya appeared from Navadevi, and he was looking like a lotus. His face was looking like a lotus petal, so beautiful. His eyes was very wide, his nose were very sharp, and he was very bright, and he was smiling like the whole world is getting bliss from his smile. So when Kubera Pandit watched his son's face, he was so bliss, he was so happy, and he immediately understood that Lord Shiva, he actually fulfilled his desire. Anyway, so then he was growing up in the association of his father and other stalwart Vaishnava devotees, and he was from his very beginning. He was a very intelligent person because he's Lord Vishnu Tattva, so he was very very knowledgeable from the very beginning. He could remember everything by hearing once. So one time, what happened? He was only 5 or 6 years old at that time, and the father used to worship the goddess Kali on behalf of the king, like he was the house priest. Okay. So what happened that Advaita Acharya actually went to see that goddess Kali's deity in the temple, and he went there, but he did not pay any obeisances to that Mother Kali. And that king, who was a very devout worshipper of Mother Kali, a devotee of Mother Kali, he was very disturbed. He told like how important this boy is. He doesn't care to even pay obeisances to such an exalted personality like Mother Kali, who is my worshipable deity. He actually expressed his disgust in front of Kuber Pandit. And Kuber Pandit was also disturbed because he thought like his son will show proper etiquette to Mother Kali because she is a representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So then he asked that why you are not showing or paying obeisances to Mother Kali? What is the problem with it? Then Advaita Acharya actually expressed that if I pay obeisances to Mother Kali, she won't take it. She won't be able to take it. Then this king became very like angry to hear this, that this boy is thinking of him who I don't understand it. And then kind of he was forced or he was pushed to pay obeisances to that deity of Mother Kali, and as soon as she paid obeisances, that the deity burst into pieces, and there was a voice from the sky that this personality is actually the husband of Mother Kali. So Mother Kali cannot actually take his obeisances. It's not possible to take obeisances from the husband. So that was a very powerful pastime where Advaita Acharya expressed, or first time he showed his original opulence, who he is as a person. Anyway, so after that he actually continued his study, and he finished all the Vedanta study by the age of 12. So that was what his father could afford in Sylhet at that time, Srihatta. So he was sent to study under Shantacharya in Shantipur, in Navadvip Shantipur area. So if you know the history of Bengal, at that time, there are like only few places which were famous for different types of Vedic studies. One is, of course, Kanchipuram, the South India. Another one was Varanasi, Kashi. Another one was Badrinath, Badri temple. People used to also go there for study. You see that Madhacharya, he went to take lessons from Vyasadeva from there. Udupi was also there, but most famous in South India was Kanchipuram, the Sankaracharya Mutt. And in Bengal, it was Navadvip Shantipur, especially the Sankhya philosophy and the Nyaya philosophy. The Pandits, the topmost scholars of Nyaya philosophy, they used to reside uh, in Navadvip. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Vidyadhar Vachaspati. Those people were the topmost scholars. Anyway, so he was sent to Shantipur under Shantacharya, and Shantacharya taught him Shat Darshan, 6 type of philosophies like Sankhya, Nyaya, Mimamsa, then Yoga, also Vedanta, Vaisheshika. These 6 philosophies he was taught there. But he achieved scholarships in all those branches in no time. In fact, in 2 years, he was like such an scholar that he started teaching his fellow students, and he got the title Veda Panchanan. By the way, his name when he was born, because his eyes was like lotus petals, he was known as Kamalaksha. He was also called as Mangala because he brought auspiciousness to everyone. And now he is known as Kamalaksha Veda Panchanan. His title become Veda Panchanan. Like we have title for Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, that was his title. Even our Prabhupada, his title is actually Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj. Yes. So anyway, so this title he got because of his scholarship, but he was not satisfied. The problem with those scholars in Navadvip, that they were like very dry philosophers. So what happens to dry philosophers? They show external austerity, they show external scholarship, but they don't have any internal realization. They don't have mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They don't have that surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So their understanding, their practice of knowledge, it's is very dry, and they don't have any clear cut understanding of those philosophies as well. Because only the devotee is heard. In the devotee is heard, excuse me, yasya deve parabhaktir tatha deve tatha koru Tasyarte Katita hi Artha Prakashante Mahatmana, right? Shetasara Upanishad said, like, only by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the spiritual master, the transcendental knowledge in someone's heart get manifested. So those things that was missing, and Advaita Acharya felt very sorry for that. Very sorry. He felt like, because you know, for Vaishnavas, they don't have to do any external austerity. They don't have to do, or they don't have to aspire to acquire too much knowledge. That's also dangerous. They will just be satisfied with the association of the devotees and the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and His devotees, pure devotees. And when they discuss about the Supreme Personality of Godhead or hear about Him, that transcendental knowledge that starts manifesting or starts blooming in their heart. It is already there, but it's a very seed form, or it's hidden form, but it gets manifested in course of time by the association of the devotees. So they don't externally, and also they are not. If you see a Vaishnava, they don't show them too much austerity. Also, like you have to fast for these many days, you have to do this kind of physical exercise, because Vairagya is vidya for them, like the austerity, Vairagya vidya nija bhakti yogata. So for them, they don't have to perform the Vairagya externally. They are internally detached. We hear, like when we hear the pastimes of Parikshit Maharaj, when he was cursed. I was reading through this canto, second canto recently, and we read that when as soon as he heard that he was cursed by the Brahmana boy, he immediately rejected all his kingdom. He immediately rejected all the relationship and took shelter of the pure devotees of the Lord. He asked, Tammopayanti Pratiyanti Vipra Gangacha Devi Dhita Chitta Meshe uh, 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 Gangacha Devi Dhita Chitta Meshe uh, Dashatpala Gayatam Vishnu Gatha. There is something missing. I'm missing one line. So it says that, uh, uh, oh, pure devotees of the Lord, please actually guide me. And also he addressed Mother Ganges that, please guide me to hear the Supreme Personality of glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I don't care whether I am cursed by a Brahmana boy. Dijottolo kuhukostakshakova. Dijotto alam kuhukostak দ্বিজোপসৃষ্ট কুহকস্তক্ষকোবা dashatpalam gayatam dashatpalam gayatam Vishnu Gatha. It says that I don't care whether I'm cursed by the Brahmana boy or some kind of illusion. I just want to hear the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Please, which is Amalam, which actually takes away all the miseries. Please start singing the glories of the Supreme Lord. So he started glorifying in that way. So he immediately, Rajya Shabikala Nityam Viruram Mamatam Jaya Atmajaya Shutagara Prashudrobinu Bandishu Rajya. He didn't have any attachment to any of the elements he had in his previous life before he was cursed, like his family members, his relatives, his kingdom, his all the husbandry, animal husbandry, his treasury. Nothing he could attract it. He was attracted to. But sometimes even we see that the severe austere person, they get attracted by the agent of Maya. A lot of instances we see in the Shastra, like Vishwamitra Muni, then we see Shobari Muni also. Many instances where they were they were driven away from their path of elevation. Anyways, so this is the power of a pure devotee, because their detachment is from inside. They don't and their knowledge, because Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayajita Janatyasu Vairagyam Jnanam Chamyada Haitikam. Their knowledge and detachment is a byproduct of their bhakti. They don't have to do it externally. So he was very, very dissatisfied to see that external austerity, external knowledge, but no internal realization, no surrender to the Supreme Personality of God. That's why he is the first person who started the bhakti movement in Navadvipa. Before even Lord Chaitanya appeared, or even any other Acharya started that, in that place. Even though there are many exalted personalities like Gangadas Pandit, who was the teacher of Lord Chaitanya, he was also contemporary of Advaita Acharya, almost contemporary. Advaita Acharya is the actually oldest, and then Jagannath Mishra also shifted, but he was the teacher. So that's why he started teaching. Now the next verse in Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami's Mangalacharan prayer. I will go to that next verse now, because the first verse explained that how he is the material element to create this the universe. Now the second verse explain why he is called an Acharya. So it says Advaitam Harinadvaita Acharya Bhakti Sangshanat Bhaktavaratara Misham Tam Advaitam Acharyam Ashraya. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is telling that I take shelter unto that Acharya, Advaita Acharya, who is an incarnation of a devotee, Bhaktavataram Isham, and also the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in the mood of servant. And he is Advaita Hari, means like he Harina Advaita Acharya, means like he is Advaita and he is non-different from Hari. And he teaches the process of devotional service, pure devotional service, Bhakti Shanshana. Now, the definition of Acharya is very important. Like sometimes we need to understand actually how somebody can be called as an Acharya. So the first thing we know that, yes, that verse, Mataji. Good that actually they put the Bengali transliteration also. Advaitam Harinadvaita Acharyam Bhakti Sangshanat Bhakta Avataram Isham Tad Tam Advaitam Acharyam Ashraya. So it says that the Acharya, the first quality of Acharya is that he is a very, very good or topmost follower of his spiritual master. Because we are parrot, like Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada has said, like we are just peon. That in India, I think now it is getting extinct. Like people used to deliver letters. In fact, no, actually it's not extinct. It's still there, because in US also you see that postal service peons, they deliver letters. So we are like peons, or the Acharya should be like a peon who will deliver whatever he gets from his teacher. It's very important that you don't manufacture new tattva, new philosophy. Rather, you just repeat whatever the previous acharyas has taught. And Srila Prabhupada mentioned in one of the purports, I think it comes in first canto, fourth chapter, where Shukdev Goswami, sorry, Vyasadeva and Narad Muni started conversation, and there also Suta Goswami was glorified. I cannot exactly recall which verse, but it says that Acharya is someone, or a guru will be someone who hears the knowledge from the previous acharyas and assimilates it, and then delivers it in a way that the audience can understand. That means he digested it. He can correlate with the current phenomena, current situation. And that's why if you see Srila Prabhupada's purports, you see that he is quoting with respect to current circumstances. What is the situation of the current world? How we can, especially in Srimad Bhagavatam, he elaborately connects with respect to the current circumstances. In Srimad Bhagavad Gita, it's not that much, but Bhagavatam, it's very elaborately he is quoting different phenomena. Like in second canto, he was quoting that some of the findings of Russian scientists, that they found that in planet Mars or in other planets there can be existence of life, because the living entities over there, they can be habituated with that particular ambience or atmosphere. Anyway, so they can actually present in such a way that the present work humankind, they can understand those knowledge. So this is the first quality of an acharya, that they just delivers what they get from previous. Second thing is like he this is the definition given by uh, uh, Srila Sanatana Goswami while glorifying Haridas Thakur. He was telling that আচার করিয়া কেহ না করে প্রচার, প্রচার করিয়া কেহ না করে আচার, আচার প্রচার নামের করদই কার্য, তুমি সর্বগুরু, তুমি জগতের আর্য. He is telling that somebody preaches but they don't uh, do, or they don't follow those teachings in their life, and somebody doesn't preach but they follow very ardently those philosophy which is given by the previous acharyas. But your divine grace Haridas Thakur, you not only actually follow those principles in your life, you also encourages everyone to follow it. You go to door, to preach this message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy. That's why you are the topmost spiritual master of the whole universe, Jagoter Arjo. So similarly, this Advaita Acharya is also Jagoter Arjo, because he teaches the quintessential teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy. And how we can understand that he is teaching the absolute knowledge, because he appeared like 52 years before Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yeah, Hare Krishna. So how so that pastimes also you can understand. First of all, he is the disciple of Madhavendra Puri, so he already connected to the bhakti root of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because it is said that Madhavendra Puri is the seed of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's bhakti tree, and Srila Ishwar Puri is the sapling, the first sapling out of that seed, and then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the main bulk or stem of the tree, and Advaita Acharya and Nityananda Prabhu are branch, and there are Gadadhar Pandit and other Srivas Pandit are also branches, but these are the two main branches of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's followers. So he already got this knowledge from his guru, and also he got it from Krishna. If you hear if you read the pastimes of Mahaprakash Leela, when Advaita Acharya was called upon by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he was telling that, Advaita, can you recall the instances when you were teaching Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and while explaining some verses, you could not find a bhakti related understanding of those verses? Can you recall those pastimes? Advaita was like, mesmerizingly listening with rapt attention what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was telling. And then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started explaining where he had problems, which of the verses he had problem with. And he told, like, whenever you did not get an explanation of some verse in the line of bhakti teachings, bhakti philosophy, you used to fast. Even Sita Thakurani used to request him that please take meal, Mahaprasad. Then Advaita Acharya did not feel any inclination. He was feeling so morose that he used to sleep without taking any Mahaprasad. Then in the dream, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to manifest the meaning of this verse in his heart each time, and then he used to take Mahaprasad out of joy that now it's time for me to take Mahaprasad, and he could explain those verses in the line of bhakti. That's why some of these verses of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, especially if you read 13th chapter, like I also personally feel like 8th chapter, 4th chapter can be explained in a very easy, non-personal way, impersonal way. But when you are connected with our sampradaya or acharyas, then they can explain, or they can give the true meaning of those works in the line of bhakti. And if you read something else, that's why that is condemned, that avaishnava mukharat giranam utam harim katha vidam. If somebody is not a pure devotee, or a teacher of the line of pure devotees, then you can get bewildered, because their explanation can be very intriguing, very interesting, and you feel like this may be the true understanding of this verse, and then you can go away from the path of true realization of bhakti from these verses. So he used to manifest, and then he quoted, Lord Chaitanya quoted that, I didn't actually give you the answer for one of these, only this verse. Other verses I gave, and then he quoted this 13, 14 that Sarvata pani padantat sarvata shishira mukham sarvata shruti mallake sarvam abrita trishtati, like everywhere he is hands, feet, ears, eyes, and he is pervaded all over everywhere. So he explained those verses in Mahaprakash. So you can see that Advaita Acharya not only got the knowledge from his spiritual master by dint of his sincere sadhana and his surrender to him, he also got this spiritual knowledge from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. And Lord Chaitanya, while were talking with Vallabhacharya, he glorified Advaita Acharya. He in the Antalila Canto 7, chapter 7, he was telling that this Advaita Acharya is my guru. He actually gave me the bhakti, or he taught me the process of bhakti. So you should also take shelter of this person. It not only delivered the people around him, he also even delivered the Yavanas, the Mlechas. These, so they were outcast from the Varnashram society, Vedic Varnashram society. He is so merciful and so powerful a personality. So he can deliver anyone and everyone in that way. Okay, so where I was? Okay, so the definition of Acharya. So this is one of the Acharya's definition, that he gets the knowledge, or he gets the teachings, and he establishes those teachings in the life, and also reaches to other people to teach those teachings. But one thing is very important, that if somebody is an Acharya in a particular line, the most important service of an Acharya is to preserve the exclusive teaching of the Sampradaya. Sampradaya vihina mantrastha nishphala mataha. If there is no Sampradaya, the mantra you get or mantra you chant, nowadays everyone chants Brahma Gayatri, everyone hears it here and there. But what is the effect? There is no purificatory effect unless it comes through a bona fide spiritual Sampradaya. So, if your sampradaya is not preserving the teachings, the exclusive teachings given by the acharyas, especially in our case, the Supreme Personality of God, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, if we cannot preserve the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then the service of this acharya is not complete. In fact, this is the most important service, to preserve the teachings, to preserve the exclusive philosophical siddhantas, the conclusions in different subject matters, and pass it down to the previous next generations, so that they can also preserve it. So this is the original disciplic succession. That's why if you see our Guru Parampara, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, the way he enunciated, he actually took out those personalities, those devotees who preserve the exclusive teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy in our line. That's why it's called also Bhagavad Parampara. It's a mix of Bhagavad and Diksha Parampara, because the initial Madhacharya, Padmanabha Nihari, those are like Diksha Parampara till Madhavendra Ishwar Puri Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then it is split it up to mainly Bhagavad Parampara, the six Goswamis, then Narottam Das Thakur, then Vishnu Chakravarti, those devotees. So this is the very important service, because if Sampradaya Siddhanta is maintained, is preserved, then Sampradaya, there is no loss or no actually way that Sampradaya can debacle, it can fall down. Every Sampradaya, if you see that those who are actually, it's not even number, that is another thing, that it's not about number is a secondary thing. The first thing is that how a sampradaya is respected, and how a sampradaya is actually preaching the original message which has been passed down by the founder, or the like in Ramanuja Sampradaya. If somebody is actually not following Sriman Ramanujacharya, then even though he may be very popular personality, but he is not in actually representing that sampradaya. Similarly, Madhacharya Sampradaya or Rudra Swami, Vishnu Swami. So this is important, that whatever Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us, those acharyas who are actually preserving those teachings and delivering to others, they are doing the best service to the humankind, or to the sampradaya. And that's how we are making sure that this sampradaya will stay, and it will keep flourishing by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But if that is not done, then the service of the acharya is not complete, or it will be like, it will not be like, we sometimes see that somebody is a bhajananandi. We can think like, oh no, he is not actually preaching the glories, or he is not reaching out to other people. No, actually, by his life, by his presence itself, he is keeping that sampradaya siddhanta. If somebody comes in a slight touch with him, gets slight glance or slight mercy from him, their life can be changed forever. And they can, that Dibbo Gyan, because Dibbo Gyan Hriday Prakashita, it manifests in the heart. It cannot be given by only, yeah, there should be an oral reception. That's also true, because by that we can cleanse our heart. But once the heart is cleansed, that knowledge start manifesting in your heart, and it starts, enlightening you. And then you can understand the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that teachings of Sarup Damodar Goswami, to that poet, that you should study Bhagavad, Jaho Bhagavad Paro Bhagavad Sthane, Ekanto Ashraya Koro Chaitanya Charane. You should study Bhagavad under the Bhagavad, person Bhagavad. Anyway, so this is another, is the most important service of an Acharya. So the first thing we have tell, like, Acharya will be a big follower of his spiritual master, or the best follower, you can say, top most, one of the topmost. Then he should actually follow all the teachings in his life and preach to others. And third is, or you can say that the most important is to preserve the teachings so that it can be passed down to the next generation without altering it, or without changing the fundamental meaning. If you read, in an open mind, our teachings of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, and our Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, you will say they're so in line with each other. They're so in line. How Srila Prabhupada has actually conceptualized the teachings of his Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Chakravarti Pad, Srila Rupa Goswami, presented for our benefit. There is no tint of deviation. Like maybe 5 years ago when I used to study, I couldn't understand that much, but by the mercy of the devotees in their association and in the study groups, when I read now, I see that how Srila Prabhupada has actually presented so easy, palatable things in front of us, by digesting all the teachings, by conceptualizing all the teachings of the previous acharyas, and how he has done the best service to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's sampradaya by doing that. Now it is available in many languages all over the world. Everybody can access this Sampradaya Siddhanta Bani. And they can also, he has given us this, this congregation where we can associate from anywhere in the world, literally. Anyways, another thing, yeah, of course, when you are doing acharan, you will be engaged in Krishna service 100% time, 24 hours a day. It's not like, I will do 10 hours devotional service, 14 hours my service. No, everything is for Krishna, nothing is for me. That is the there is a verse in Chaitanya Bhagavat. It says, Shayana Shapane Kiva Nishi Jagarane Ahurnishi Krishnam Balabhadane. So this is this is the teachings of the previous acharyas, that doesn't matter whether you are sleeping, whether you are dreaming, whether you are awake, just always keep chanting Krishna. So devotees, they chant, because there are 3 ways of chanting. Even though it is not recommended for sadhakas, but there are 3 ways of chanting, that you chant with your voice, and then chant in your inner tongue, upangsa, and then you chant in your mind. So the devotees, like Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj, those Bhajanandi devotees, they used to chant each like all the time. Even somebody they are talking with, in between they are actually chanting in their mind. Haridas Thakur, he used to chant 1 lakh in voice, 1 lakh in inner tongue, and 1 lakh in his mind. Anyway, so this is another characteristic. They are serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead all the time. It may not be visible. Sometimes you can see that he is sleeping, but no, he's not sleeping for himself. He's sleeping because that's his service. That's his service. He's eating because that's his service to Krishna. He's taking rest because that's his service. So it's very difficult sometimes to understand. Okay. Now, yeah, the first time Advaita Acharya was Hare Krishna Mataji. So the time is 8 to 9, right? If I understand correctly.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, so I think we can stop here, pause here, and we can ask for if there is any question.
Hare Krishna, Koladvipa, Pran Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam, so glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation and giving such a beautiful class. It was like a festival, real festival, listening to you on this auspicious day. Thank you so much for giving beautiful pastimes and then connecting it with the philosophy, and of course talking about the importance of presenting our sampradaya as it is and the glories of our acharyas. It was such a beautiful presentation, Prabhu. I learned so much today. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on the call. Very grateful to you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Priti Vilasini Mataji, for giving me this service. Hare Krishna. If there is any question or comment, then go ahead. Because I think I don't have time for other topics yet.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to you, Prabhu. Thank you so much for accepting this request, coming on the call and sharing all your wonderful realization. Class was really beautiful, very well presented, and really like the pastimes that you shared of Advaita Acharya. That how Mother Kali said that he won't be able to take me. I will not be able to take his obeisances. So that was wonderful. And of course, that's the best part of what's the real meaning of Acharya and how Acharya should be presenting everything as it is. So thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you. And I request devotees, if they have any other further questions, realizations, or any comments, they can go ahead.
Thank you, Kirti Sundari Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
How many years of Acharya spent with the Madhvendra Puri?
So it is said that, when Madhavendra Puri was going to Puri Dham for collecting the chandans for his Gopal deity who appeared in Vrindavan, and he established him in the top of the Govardhan hill, he stayed sometimes with Advaita Acharya in Shantipur. And at that time, by seeing his ecstatic manifestation of devotional love in him, in Madhavendra Puri, Advaita Acharya accepted him as his spiritual master. So on the way to Puri and coming back, only in these 2 times he stayed in the place of Advaita Acharya. And if you know that there is a pastimes where Madhavendra Puri honored Mahaprasad in Sachi Mata's place also at that time. So it was not a long period of time, but you know that even Advaita Acharya, even not many Srila Prabhupada's disciples had also very intimate association of him, but Lavamatra Sadhu Sangha, or pure devotees has also very.
Yeah.
Thank you
Very
very
good.
much. Okay. Let's see that if there is something shortcut, we can actually speak. Oh yeah, that famous, Achyutananda pastimes. Yeah, that is very interesting pastime. So if you know that, Advaita Acharya has had 2 wives. One is Sita Devi, another one is Sri Devi. So Sita Thakurani and Sri Devi, they were actually both sisters, and out of them, 6 sons were born, and they were named as Achyutananda, Sri Krishna, Gopal Mishra, Sarupa, Damodar, and Balaram. Sorry, Balaram, Sarupa, and Jagadish. So out of these 6, 3 they followed the principles which were taught by Advaita Acharya in full. Achyutananda, Sri Krishna, and Gopal Mishra. But the other 3, Sarupa, Jagadish, and Balaram, they did not follow. Now, Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur has given a very nice explanation why they are not considered as the true followers of Advaita Acharya. He told Advaita Acharya is the topmost representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he is also the Supreme Personality of Godhead's incarnation. But if somebody, Hare Krishna, but if somebody considers Advaita Acharya as the object of the worship, or Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is our Vishaya Vigraha, the object of our worship, if that is the case, then he is not following the original doctrine given by Advaita Acharya or our previous acharyas. He will fall down from his path of worship. And these 3 people, the second 3, Balaram, Jagadish, and Sarupa, they had introduced that Advaita is not different than Supreme God Krishna, and you should worship him only without worshiping the Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Nityananda Prabhu or Lord Krishna. So that's why they fell down from his path. But Achyutananda, Balaram, and Gopal, Achyutananda, Krishna, and Gopal, they followed nicely. And you can see in Chaitanya Bhagavad, there is a pastimes of Achyutananda where he chastised his father, Advaita Acharya, for calling out Keshav Bharati as the spiritual master of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And similarly, there is a pastime of Gopal, where I think in Gundicha Marjana pastimes, where Gopal were became very ecstatic after dancing with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he fainted, and his breathing stopped. Everybody thought he left his body, and Advaita Acharya started chanting the Narsinga mantra, but he did not come back to his consciousness. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just told, "Oh, Gopal, awake, awake," and start dancing, chanting, and then Gopal came back to life and started dancing again, and Advaita Acharya was very happy. Yeah. So this is another interesting thing. Another thing I want to add, maybe if we have two minutes. So one can ask that, Advaita Acharya is the incarnation of Supreme Personality of Godhead, then why he needed to be taught or needed to be given the meaning of Bhagavad Gita verses, in bhakti reference or in that manner? Why he could not reconcile himself? So this is very interesting fact. The fact is that Lord Krishna, the knowledge once gets, it's up to his complete jurisdiction. Even he is an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How much he will understand, that is in his jurisdiction. That's why we see that Brahma Vimohan Lila, even Lord Balaram got bewildered. He is the supreme servant, supreme personality of Godhead himself, but he couldn't understand what's happening for a while, until Lord Krishna explained, hey, this is the case. He couldn't understand on his own. Yeah, Gyani Udapasya Namanta Eva. It cannot be understood by your own independent, even though you are in that tattva. So these are some very confidential tattvas where you get the knowledge directly by শিক্ষা গুরুকে তো মানে কৃষ্ণের স্বরূপ, অন্তর্যামী কৃষ্ণ ভক্ত এই দুই রূপ. So only the shiksha guru, the teacher who is giving you the knowledge about devotional service, he acts in two ways. As a pure devotee, Mahabhagavat devotee, through him he teaches Lord Krishna, or he manifests that knowledge from within, antaryami, super soul. That's why Vaisheshika Prabhu says sometimes that sometimes somebody asks a question, and by deliberating on that question, or thinking about the question for some time, he gets his answer, or he starts answering the question itself. Yeah, I don't have to even reply, because this is the act of the super soul. He can actually guide someone to understand something very complicated or difficult topics as well. Yeah. Okay. If you have a moment to elaborate on this being called Sadasiva. Okay, so yeah, that's a very good point. Because Sadasiva is a Vishnu Tattva. He is not in this realm of, in fact, it is said that, it is said in the creation also, sometimes Lord Shiva, the Rudra avatar, he comes from the middle of uh, Lord Brahma, the third eyes of Lord Brahma. Sometimes he comes from Lord Vishnu, the third eyes of Lord Vishnu. And there are different manifestations of Rudra. Ekadash Rudra, 11 type of Rudra manifestation. After there is Shadashiv is the source of all Rudras. In fact, when Lord Shankarshan, he actually annihilates the whole universe, that the fire comes from his mouth, that fire is actually the manifestation of Shadasiva, which annihilates the whole universe. So you can see that these are Lord's energy. Parasya Saktir Vivideva Shriyate Savabhiki Kriya Jnana Balamcha. Lord Krishna doesn't have to directly interfere. They manifest from his, automatically. He doesn't have to say, do this, do this, do this. No, they act according to his will, independently, kind of. Savabhiki Kriya. So this Sadasiv is one of the manifestation of Lord's energy, and he resides in beyond this material realm, in this spiritual world. In between, sometimes we say, like, there is a Kailash where Sadasiva lives. Sometimes even I read that he lives in Vaikuntha also. That is a Vaikuntha look where Sadashiv is the supreme personality, or worshipped as the supreme person. So this is the tattva. This is how it is explained. But as I say, I also want to accept that this Shiva Tattva is not easy to understand. Shiva Tattva, this Bhakta Tattva, then Guru Tattva, these are like very complicated. And as we progress in our devotional endeavor, then these kind of knowledges will start manifesting in our heart. Oh, how many years? So Advaita Acharya actually lived 125 years. So he left when Lord Chaitanya left. Lord Chaitanya appeared in 1486, and he left in 1532. Advaita Acharya appeared in 1434, and he left in 1559, 125 years. So he was the oldest, and he actually merged into the Bakarais deity, the same deity where Lord Nityananda actually merged. It is said that he disappeared in that deity. And and he is the Gaurana Thakur, he who is the person who brought Lord Chaitanya in this world, and also he is the person who requested Lord Chaitanya to leave also, that your job is done, now we can aul baul kahe anyways, that is a verse, that is a the very nice uh, what is that, idiom or something like very code language, presentation or a message, coded message, which only Lord Chaitanya could understand, and Saru Damodar Goswami could understand to some extent, but other devotees, they could not understand. So Jagratananda Pandit, when he visited Navadvip Dham, Advaita Acharya sent this message to him that your service is done, where the reason of your appearance, you already fulfilled it, and now everyone is inundated in devotional service. Now you can do, because you are sharat, you are independent, now you can do whatever you like, but I think your our request is fulfilled. So then Lord Chaitanya started experiencing the topmost devotional ecstasy of Srimati Radharani onwards, and then after some time he left, he disappeared. Thank you. Yes, Prabhuji, actually there are books in Bengali, but I don't know whether they are translated in English. So Advaita Bilash is there, Advaita Charit is there, but I don't think it is translated into English by anyone. And some of these books, they are actually, because they were not maintained nicely, so they are because different sampradayas, as I mentioned, in Advaita, there are like sampradayas who want to project that Advaita Acharya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So they also altered the contents to some extent. So if something is not actually authorized by our acharyas, it's very difficult to actually recommend those books. Yeah, Advaita Charita and Advaita Bilas. Yeah, these are the two books which are depicting the life history. But we try to focus on mainly Chaitanya Bhagavat, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Mangal, these books which are authorized biography of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and where Advaita Acharya's pastimes are also spoken. Okay, I think if there is no comment or question, then we can actually conclude. Yes, Prabhu, there is a Advaita Vangsha. These are like caste Goswamis, we say sometimes, or Nityananda Vangsha, Advaita Vangsha. They are still, and there are some powerful personalities in those lines also, like Vijay Krishna Goswami. He was a very powerful spiritual Acharya. But not everyone is as powerful. But they claim the Acharyaship based on their birthright, which is not which should not be. Yeah.
Where do they live?
Sorry,
Advaita, where do they live, all these generations?
so if you go to Shantipur, still their family lineages are there, but they are spread all over in West Bengal and Bengal, different parts. Yeah. So there Shantipur also there. His family lineages are still there. Some the worships and things are maintained in the Shantipur temple as Advaita Acharya's family members. Okay, if there is no question, then we can call it a day. And thanks for joining. And it's a very auspicious occasion that we all are fasting on the appearance day of Srila Advaita Acharya, and we pray all together that dear Advaita Acharya Thakur, if you are so merciful, please give us the devotional service unto the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and please empower us to preach the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu all over the globe as a messenger of Sri Prabhupada and all the previous Acharyas. Thank you for hearing our request.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for such a beautiful, beautiful class. We are very, very grateful to you. I would like to offer all of you obeisances and Prabhuji. Vancha kalpa tarobhyascha kripa sindhu evacha patitanam
Pavani Vaishnavi Namo Namaha.
Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Acharya ki jai, Koladvipa Pran Prabhuji ki jai. Hare
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.